Are back, baby. Safid, how you feeling today? You feeling good?
Yeah, Big O, how you doing, man?
Good. I want to ask you if you've done this because I've been waiting a few days to talk a little bit about it, and I have to talk about it now with all the crap that's being thrown out there. And it's not by Joe Shad, by the way. A prophecy in the making for Tua Tagovailoa. Have you seen it on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
Ooh, wow.
Prophecy in the Making. What's that, like a documentary?
Yes. And they have dude, they have but it's all him and his family, everything, and they have all the footage of him from high school, even as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
all the way through the Elite 11s, Alabama, the hip injury, the draft, all of it. And it is must see TV. Okay? It is emotional. I even cried a little bit a couple times because
Wow.
the family bond and everything is you know as I've gotten older, as I'm 57.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get a little bit more emotional, as you get older, and I guess because I was more of a cold some bitch 20, 30 years ago, and when I could watch anything and never, but now it's like things get to me at times. And
Sure.
I gotta say, I watered up a couple times in that because it's just a beautiful film, dude. It's just amazing, and then to watch him dominate every level that he's been at, and to watch how he's been challenged and how it's been set back, and how he went through the grueling, process to rehab himself, the ankle injury, all the other things that he had to go through. Dude, I'll give something away because I've given it away a couple times. They have it there on film. He told his parents the night before the national championship game, he's not playing the game. Jalen Hurts is starting the game.
Yeah.
They're telling him, maybe we'll create a little package for you to throw a couple, because he was killing Jalen Hurts in practice. Every day he was the better quarterback, and they knew it. And so he told his parents the night before the national championship game, he said, if I play tomorrow, I will make a name for ourselves, and our name will be known all over the world.
Well,
He
sure
called,
enough, he did it, right? He called his shot.
called he called his shot, dude.
Yeah, that's even better than like Reggie Jackson pointing the bat out to outfield. You know what I'm saying?
That is some shit, dude. Like you got to watch this.
Yeah,
You got to watch Trent
I
Dilfer
will.
ripping into his ass in
Mm-hmm.
Elite 11s, saying that you're undisciplined. And then they show the film of Trent tells his parents and his dad, who's his coach, all the things he has to work on. Goes and
Yeah.
works. They show the film. He comes back. He's number one in Elite 11,
Yeah.
kicking everybody's ass. You know,
Yeah.
he after you watch that, and then you hear all this silliness, that if you get somebody else and put them in the system, maybe they can. No, they can't do. And I
Yeah.
want you to watch the anticipatory throw he makes in the national championship game. They show it in that documentary. That's a throw that most NFL 27, 28 of the NFL quarterbacks can't make that throw. Okay? 99.8% of the college quarterbacks in the history of
Mm-hmm.
college can't make that throw. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, it is. When you're done with me, if you have 52 minutes to spare, brother, you're going to thank me. You're going to go, bro, that was the best 52 minutes I've spent watching television in a long time.
I will
That,
text you immediately after and tell you if I cried or not.
well, but I know you're going to love it. I don't know if you're going to
I
cry.
will watch it. Yeah, no, I will watch it.
Maybe
Look,
it's amazing, bro. It's amazing.
to his work ethic, it should be unquestioned at this point. Um, and I think the questions that everybody has around him are very valid. Um, it's sad because people still see year one, year two Tua, and look at year four Tua in the same light. Tua has the most passing yards, most touch, best passer rating. He's 5-1. He's the clear MVP, right? And he's still getting the national attention that he's always gotten. Positive or negative, because it's just Tua. It's so easy to kind of cover him or speak about him in the media because he is so polarizing, right? You say his arm is too weak, and what does he do? He's making long passes now. You can say he throws a 2-3 yard dump pass and it goes 40 yards. Yeah, sure. I mean, literally, Trevor Lawrence did that last night for the game-winning touchdown that they had last night too with Christian Kirk, right? He's not the only quarterback doing that. You talk about Tua being a dink and dunk quarterback, short passes, everything like that. I don't know if you know, but the whole NFL, look at your fantasy teams and you're wondering why your players are not scoring touchdowns. The whole NFL is like that right now.
I know.
Okay. Everybody's dinking and dunking from Herbert to Patrick Mahomes. Literally, the whole reason the league is dinking and dunking is because of Patrick Mahomes. And Tua is playing at that game at the high level too. Um, Mike McDaniel was very, very great in his quote when asked by Joe Shad. Obviously, Joe Shad and the Dolphins beat writers, they all have a group chat. I'm not in the group chat. I can't stand group chats, so I'll pull myself out of them. But I can understand where this conversation stems from because it's one we've been having with Dolphins writers, and it's one that we've been having as a group nationally everywhere, and fan bases since Tua was drafted ahead of Herbert, 5 and 6 in 2020, right? Um, Tua's done a lot for himself, and this season he is one not injured, knock on wood, and two playing the best he's ever played in his life.
Right.
And three, he reminds me of Alabama Tua, where he had all those weapons, and it's crazy to see how Tua has transformed himself and how Tua has done really well for himself here. I go back to this interview I had with Tua. Me and a couple other writers were, at Uncle Luke's high school where Tua was doing a Gatorade promotion with them and working out with some kids. I looked Tua right in his face and I said, Tua, your life changed when you threw that pass at Alabama. Like he said in that documentary, right? His life changed. He was not ready for it overnight. He became an overnight sensation. His season going into Alabama before the hip injury was probably the highest anticipated season of any quarterback in college football history, right? You look at the hip injury and how crazy that was because it's a career ender for most people, right? Like we literally looked up Bo Jackson's injury and said, Bo didn't come back from this. How is Tua going to do it? He broke his, and now he's playing in the NFL 4 years later and balling out and could potentially win MVP this season.
By the way, they explain the entire process of how they went about to repair the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check that out too.
It's really good, man. It's just
Yeah. Tua also had another documentary by Fox.
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I saw that one too. But the thing that stuck out to me in that one is Tua's literally watching First Take and listening to all the things people are saying right before the draft, and he's going absolutely nuts because he can't control what other people are saying about him. One, and also he has to deal with the rehab process of all of this. Right? Tua's gotten so much stronger and so much more healthier as the seasons have progressed here in the NFL. None more than this past off season because he obviously had the concussions to deal with, right? But otherwise, physically, he was okay. There was no ankle, there was no hip, there was no hand injury for him to deal with. It was just all in learning how to fall properly and learning how to take hits so he doesn't, so he could pop back up and he's not falling and hitting his head, the back of his head on the field. So look, Tua deserves a lot of credit, man. Nobody's probably improved more than him. If you look at this season as a whole, Mahomes obviously has some issues with the receivers, right? They don't have a standout receiver like Juju Smith-Schuster or anybody like that. After Tyreek left, it's just Kelsey and him and everybody else. Joe Burrow has a calf injury that it's taken him a while to come back from. I don't even know if Burrow's back to 100%, but the Bengals will turn a corner at some point, right?
He's getting there now. If you watch the last 2 weeks, he's getting there now.
Yeah, and so Herbert has regressed, like we've spoken about, because they have a new offense, and he's made some poor plays in every game he's played this season. And you look at the quarterback thing. We looked at Herbert and Burrow so far ahead, year one, year two. We look how far Josh Allen was ahead as well too. Tua is right in the mix with all those guys right now, right? And he's an MVP candidate. He is the clear-cut MVP right now after 6 weeks, right? There's no Brock Purdy. There's no Mahomes. There's no Burrow. There's no Herbert. There's no Josh Allen. There's Tua. Like, I don't know. Who would you put second? Maybe McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill? Like, I don't even know if you in that conversation.
Yeah. That might be those guys that I put second. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's always been a quarterback award.
Yeah.
So who's the next quarterback that's going to step up? Lamar was having an all right season, I guess, but
no, he's
not. His
passing isn't anything out of this world.
Who's the next quarterback in that list, right? Like Tua has an MVP right now, but he's got to play well. I mean, after the Bills game, it wasn't his for sure. But Tua's played very, very well this season, man. And
Yeah,
a lot of people need to get off his back. They have to figure out their all-in bets of him and his arm strength, and just really come to terms with the fact that he's a changed player and actually watch him play. Right? Actually
yeah,
watch him play and watch how he orchestrates this offense. Look at this offense, right? Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan. You know how many other quarterbacks and receivers and all these people that they've had, and it just hasn't looked how it looks right now. Like the closest thing I can think of is maybe Atlanta with Matt Ryan when they went to the Super Bowl that year. That literally was like Matt Ryan and how he did the best season of his career in the same offense, right? And all those players that kind of were in Atlanta at that time, they haven't done it since. I mean, they had Johnny Manziel in Cleveland. They were in Washington with I believe maybe Kirk Cousins. I think, like other teams, other times this offense has been run by other people. You can even put Jimmy G and Brock Purdy in the mix there too, right?
hey,
Because it's kind of the same
I just
offense.
brought it up an hour ago. So what happens with Jimmy G and what is it? Emmanuel was the receiver. So what happens on that game-winning throw that Jimmy G screwed up? What do you think happens if Tua's the one throwing that pass? Do you think San
Yeah.
Francisco is winning the Super Bowl? Do you think if it's Tua and not Jimmy Garoppolo that day for the San Francisco 49ers, do
Uh-huh.
you think the San Francisco 49ers probably easily win the Super Bowl?
Well, it's to it now, yes. To it then, probably not.
Oh, I think Tua then, now, anytime better than
Yeah,
Jimmy
you're right.
Garoppolo.
You're right because he would have had an actual offense.
I could play you the video at the end of the 2020 season. And
Hmm.
while all of you out there were complaining and criticizing, I called his season excellent. You know why I called his season excellent? Because my problem with Dolphin quarterbacks for many, many years is they couldn't operate under chaos. Well, all he did for 2 years was operate under chaos. He won more than he lost. He threw more touchdowns than interceptions.
Uh-huh.
He can only do what he can do with the limited things that he had around him, but yet he still won more than he lost, even
It's
without no coaching and no support. So imagine when you do give him support. Oh my God, what do you think can happen? Oh, maybe you can win a national championship. Maybe you can be an MVP in the NFL. Maybe
mhm.
you can go to the playoffs. What a difference. And so that's where my problem the first 2 years was everything around him. I knew he wasn't the problem. Everything around him was broken, not
Yes.
him.
Yes. Look at some of the worst Dolphins O lines in history, right? Probably what in 19, 20, 21.
Yes.
You look at how much the O line has improved, and that's coaching, along with players really stepping into year 3 or 4 of their careers. You look at the receivers. I mean, literally, it's only Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker. That was it. Getting Jalen Waddle, who broke the completion record as a
You
rookie.
made him a possession receiver, bro. You made Jalen Waddle a possession
It
receiver.
was criminal how they used Jalen Waddle. I literally tweeted this that they we have people who drive like a Maxima like don't know how to use the Ferrari,
Right.
right? Like that's literally what I said. Like Jalen Waddle was a possession receiver, barely got 4 yards down the field for any pass, but he broke the completions record and Anquan Bolden's record, right, as a rookie because Tua was the only one. He was the only one that Tua really trusted to throw the ball to. Then you go and get him a Hall of Famer in Tyreek Hill, who Tyreek Hill, like I said, no, we will never see a player like Tyreek Hill ever again in NFL history, right? His size, his speed, his strength, like him and Antonio Brown are so unique in how they're just able to dominate the football when it's in their hands, right? Look, Chris Greer finally built a team around Tua. He's got a coach in Mike McDaniel who bought into Tua and is giving Tua everything, everything that he needs to be successful, from confidence to a great play to a great scheme. And they've repped this so many times since April, since last season, going back to it too, to be as successful as they have been, man. And, hopefully Tua on Sunday night, hopefully he stays healthy, knock on wood, first of all. And most of all, too, hopefully he has a good showing, man, because the Dolphins and Tua, the monkey's still on their back, man.
Yeah,
And
of
it's
course.
up to them to get him off, get the monkey off of it.
Yeah, it's what my theme has been. They've been good many times. They were good last year. Do you want to be great?
Yeah.
These are the moments, dude. You want to be great? That's the only way you're going to win a Super Bowl. That's the only way you're going to beat Kansas City and Buffalo and And Philadelphia, if you run into them in the Super Bowl, you got to start winning these kind of games. And so that'll be interesting this Sunday night. If they're ready for greatness, do they really are they ready to take that next step?
Yeah.
Because we know they're good. Can you
Yeah.
be great? Is the question.
Is this game in the Chiefs game? Because the Dolphins and outside of the Jets game later on this year, the first Jets game, but the Dolphins have to either prove they're going to beat up on the bad teams and have a really high record, or they can actually compete with a good team because they didn't show well against the Bills. They have to show well against the Eagles and Chiefs to really know what we have here, and to see how deep they could potentially really go in the postseason.
All right. I said to hold out Claypool last week and bring him out here. Do you think there's going to be a little package for Chase against the Eagles on Sunday?
The Eagles. Yeah, it would be great to see Chase Claypool get a ball or two in this game. I could see. I mean, the thing is, you don't want Tua kind of forcing it. Tua has forced Jalen Waddle's involvement in the last two games, and deservedly so. I mean, Tyreek is getting the bulk of everything, but you got to keep Waddle happy. So he's had 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, I believe. But it has felt like they have forced some passes his way. Remember that pick six against the Giants? That was a ball forced to a forced to Waddle in like double or triple coverage, I think. So it's got to be important to see what kind of package that you do put in this game for Claypool. Like I said, it could be a running play like Deebo Samuel, and that's a big dude, right?
Yeah.
I got a glimpse of Chase Claypool in the locker room this week, and I'm talking to Perk, and I'm like, man, this guy's jump shot got to be really bad if he's playing football. He looks like a small forward, man. He's big. He's stocky. That's a dude I would like to run between the tackles if I can have a play for him. And, we'll see how much he does as a receiver and how much he will play. But the Dolphins got a good thing going offensively already.
Yeah, some of the stuff they used to do with Devontae Parker, they can do with him. So, make it nice and easy. A couple fades down the sideline, red
Yeah,
zone,
definitely.
50-50 balls that are really more 70-30 for him. That makes Tua's life so much easier, bro, because he just doesn't have a guy that can high point like that.
Yeah.
That's when you were talking about Tyreek, and we'll never see another guy like that. And I'm thinking, I'm going through Dolphin history, and I'm thinking Mark Clayton is the only thing that comes close. The thing is, Tyreek is not much faster, but faster than Mark Clayton. Clayton, the only thing he would have on Tyreek is in the air. Mark Clayton was like a sick athlete. This guy used to squat 500 pounds, by the way, Mark Clayton. And so he could dunk and all that kind of stuff. His body control in the air was absolutely phenomenal. He was like a 5'10 guy or something like that, 5'11, but he could jump, I don't know, bro, 40 inches or something. It was he was a stupid athlete. I mean, really just sick. But Tyreek is definitely at another level speed wise.
Mm-hmm.
With Clayton, I would only give him an edge on Tyreek in the air. That's the only thing that I would give him because he was a monster in the air.
And we haven't seen really Tyreek kind of go up for a jump ball yet.
Last year, that one that he went and did that he one-handed and brought it back down. Remember that?
Yeah, he's capable of that. So is Waddle. Waddle's very capable of that too. Waddle's 5'11", barely 6 foot, but he could dunk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you're going up 10 feet, like you got ups. And Waddle has some really great body control too, because there's a couple times when Tua has to throw a Waddle, he knows he can throw it up and Waddle can go up and go get it. But like you said, and like I've said since the off season, since training camp, they needed a jump ball guy. So I'm glad they finally went and got one in Claypool, and we'll see, if they can really get those plays in. Because remember we spoke about the Baltimore game, how Gesicki caught that jump pass in the end zone. That was like the there was probably 21 at that point, but that was the beginning of the comeback with Gesicki in that end zone, and then you just lit it up with Tua and Waddle the rest of the game that way. So by having a jump ball guy is really important for this offense.
So does Connor play? What's your gut say?
I would hope so. I mean, Connor has to play. That's kind of the big thing there. He was limited today with the groin. I can see them try to nurse it as much as possible. This is a tough game to gauge injury-wise because it's not the Panthers or the Giants. It's not an opponent where you're like, maybe I can save a guy for next week. This is the week.
Rest him next week, bro. Give him New England off. Let Liam handle New England. And then you
Yeah,
back for Kansas City.
yeah. You just really hope that you're not messing with Connor's progression because if he's in and out, in and out, in and out, then you have the Chiefs game the week after. Do you do it again? That's the center is not. It's not a position I would mess with, especially the player. The type of blocking and everything that Connor offers you, and the stability that he's provided the last 2 seasons.
I'm just trying to pace him if he's injured. You're trying to. You definitely. I mean, this is the game. His kind of blocking. You really need it for this matchup, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
that D line is crazy. That D line is crazy. You
those,
need Connor Williams in that game. You need Alec Engel, who's limited with a foot injury, to do some blocking. Right.
yeah.
The good part when I look at the injury report, Jalen Phillips is full practice this week already. I know Vic Fangio said he might be on a little bit of a pitch count in this Eagles game, but Jalen Phillips has to get home in this Eagles game if they're going to have a chance.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about the back end. Like, I'm not sure about Jeff Wilson. Maybe he comes back. Van Ginkel didn't practice yesterday, but I know he's dealing with some family things right now. So he'll be okay for Sunday.
Yeah, he's fine. And I saw the tweet from the wife, and obviously any of us that are parents, that's the thing, and that's the kind of stuff you never want to have to deal with. So
and by the way, the Van Ginkel family, Andrew and his wife Samantha, great people, salt of the earth.
Yeah, I'm happy, dude. I've been a Van Ginkel guy from the get-go, so I am super happy that
really great people
finally giving him a chance because he really needs it. Who else should we expect to come back?
Let me look at this injury report real quick. Not Jalen Ramsey. I'd say that much. And X, you're worried about X. You're worried about the groin injury right now.
Yeah.
Kohu has a neck injury that's kept him limited, but when I saw him in the locker room this week, he looked all right. So I'm worried about the secondary. I'm worried about X and how they're going to do in the passing game. But this is the one where the D line has to step up. Hopefully Fangio has something for Jalen Hurts. And hopefully the guys really do well reading and reacting, because I think Jalen Hurts could definitely run a little bit in this game.
Raekwon Davis is not working on a new contract with the Miami Dolphins, right? The way he's playing, does it look like he would re-sign him? No, seriously.
I'm unsure at this point, but also Raekwon kind of has a role that he plays where he kind of just clogs his area, and doesn't really go after the quarterback or push back as much. So I'm interested to see, because that kind of play doesn't lead to real, numbers. But Raekwon's kind of in a situation where he's either got to determine if he's going to make some numbers and make some big plays, or are you just another guy kind of with a really big physique? So, I'm kind of worried about Raekwon in that sense. But he is, his body really well. For him to be out there as much as he is great too. And also Zealer's emergence doesn't help either.
Let me run this. Have you been more impressed with Raekwon or Hand?
I haven't really watched much of Hand to be impressed.
Well, I'm gonna say that
you might be impressed more with Hand.
Yeah, and he plays less.
For me, makes no sense. For me, Zach Sealer obviously clouds that because he's on the field a little bit more, or he's in the rotation a lot more.
But he's
and Wilkins has to continue to step it up as well. He has 2 good games, best 2 games he's coming off of, but he's got to really make some things shake against the Eagles O-line. This is the best O-line in the league. So if Wilkins is nowhere to be found, it's going to be hard for contract negotiations and the things like that later on this offseason too.
What's the prediction? Who wins?
Dolphins 26, Eagles 23 is my prediction. I think it's going to be really, really close. I said this in a video with USA Today this week. I think the Dolphins are number 1 offense, nearly 500 yards. Eagles are number 2 with nearly 400 yards. We're not going to see some big shootout, in my opinion. I think some defense is going to be played in this game. But I think the Dolphins are going to have a big play at the end of the game to win it. And hopefully it's 2 at a Tyreek or 2 at a Waddle. But yeah, that's my prediction. 26-23. And we will be singing the Dolphins' praises on Sunday night together, post-game on the Big O Show.
I love it. All right, follow him on Twitter at Safid_Deen and catch his exceptional work there at the USA Today and his own podcast that he's got going on there with the USA Today.
Safid, it's a football podcast. It's a football podcast. Check it out.
It's a football podcast. Make sure you subscribe and check it out. Safid, thank you as always, my friend. We will catch up on Sunday night, late Sunday night.
Appreciate you, Big O. We'll watch Messi on Saturday too.
Oh, that's right. He is playing Saturday.
This guy
That's
is
right.
back, bro. He's back, and he came back at the worst time.
I know it was funny that he's sitting there on Wednesday night just watching the game, which I
Yeah.
was actually surprised that he had just gotten back so quickly from that game, and he was in the stands, sitting there watching it. And by the way, kudos to the team. They hustled to make it to tie the game, and even Robbie Robinson got a goal, which is, Robbie's been such a huge disappointment for the team since he's been selected.
Yeah.
So, it kind of sucks, man, that we're not going to get any postseason
It
Messi.
does. It really does. They're gonna go in China the first week of November, which is crazy. I watched Messi playing for Argentina against Peru on Tuesday night. That was like a 10 p.m. Night game. This guy's back to normal, man. Scored 2 goals, knocked off the rust, played all 93 minutes. So it was a real health concern that he had all of the last month, which caused him to miss games in Atlanta, Chicago, Orlando, here with InterMiami and Fort Lauderdale, but. We'll see, man. It's a big year next year, and we already got the Leagues Cup trophy. That whole run was spectacular. So we'll see how it happens next year.
Now they have the experience. Now they'll pace it a little bit more for next year to make sure pace and space. That's what they'll do a little bit more with him, because there's no way that he's going to be able to be in every game of all the different things that are going on. And it's like so many have mentioned. The problem is the MLS has their season in the wrong time. They should be playing soccer with the rest of the world, but unfortunately, we have the NFL during that time, and you just don't want to compete against that monster. So it just creates schedule-wise a real mess for them to play the MLS season and all these other tournaments and everything else, dude. It's a mess. What are you going to do? It is what it is. All right, Safid. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up on Sunday night.